Witam Państwa bardzo serdecznie na 61. Krakowskim Festiwalu Filmowym. Przed nami spotkanie z twórcami z programu filmów krótkometrażowych numer 6. Bardzo się cieszę, że się spotykamy, żeby porozmawiać o ich filmach, ale nie tracąc czasu przejdę od razu na język angielski, bo mamy tutaj różne narodowości, różne kierunki świata, jest nawet oko cyklonu, więc będziemy tutaj próbować połączyć się i porozmawiać o filmach krótkometrażowych. Z góry dziękujemy za Waszą cierpliwość i zapraszam na spotkanie z twórcami. So, hello, I just said few words in Polish to say that we are at the 61st Krakow Film Festival and that I'm joined by you guys from all around the world to talk about your short films that are included in the program number 6. So we have Subarna Das, the director of the film Amai. Hi, Subarna, nice to have you here. I mentioned that we have one person who is in the middle of a cyclone, and that's Subarna. So we hope that you're gonna manage to stay with us. We have Mehdi Zarei, the director of In the Dark. Hi, Mehdi. Mehdi is joined by his translator. Hi guys, hope that you are not in the middle of some desert storm or anything like that. We have Sachin Mudigonda, the director of Testimony of Anna. Hi, you are now in Austin, Texas. Are you?
That's correct, I'm in Austin, Texas right now.
Great. And Jail Pak, the director of the film Georgia. 3 a.m. in South Korea now, right?
Yes. It's 3 a.m. and I would have been awake anyway.
I'm so glad that you are here. As Sachin will have to leave us a bit earlier, we're going to start with his film, with Testimony of Anna. But the drill for today is I'm going to start with the first round of questions, and then we're going to try to have another round. So please keep your answers short and concise for everybody to be able to participate in our conversation. So the first question needs to be about Anna, about the character, the person that you've met. How did you come across of her and her story? Because it's so strong, and also the visual aspect of the film. There's so many questions that I could ask actually, but let's start with this beautiful person with her story that you discovered and gave to us.
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you so much for doing this, Kai. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be part of such a prestigious film festival. So coming to Anna, the way I first met her is actually, I've done my bachelor's in the same state where the attacks were happening way back in 2013. So that was almost like 7 to 8 years before, in the state of Gujarat. So while I was studying my bachelor's, I was aware of such incidents happening. So it's not something new that's happening in India right now. It's been happening since many, many years ago. So at that time, at the back of my mind, it was there, but I couldn't do anything about it back then because I was an engineer and not a filmmaker. So after I transitioned to filmmaking, it took a few years for me, but I wanted to do something about it. Then I think I got in touch with some social justice lawyers, some journalists who kind of introduced me to the community in rural Gujarat, in the south side of Gujarat. So when I went there to do some fieldwork and research, I met with some of the survivors of hunting attacks that are happening in India. And Anna is one of the only few people who has actually managed to survive the attack and who's still living in the very same village. So that's how I met her. And I was even before Anna, I was supposed to actually meet a couple who were accused of witchcraft again. But just before my arrival, they died because their bodies couldn't cope up with the attack, with the severity of the attack, and their attack was very recent. So that's how I got to meet Anna. And then the minute I met her, the minute I listened to her voice, I think that's when I've decided that I think I should make a film.
But was she reluctant to take part in the project, or she was willing to share her story because it's such a traumatic experience for her? And listening to her testimony was like heartbreaking thing. So was it for her also, you know, like how did she manage to really participate in that film?
Absolutely. I mean, in the beginning, she literally asked us to fuck off because she thought we were from the side of the perpetrators. Like she thought we were coming in with these big, big weapons of camera and everything to kind of manipulate her and, to make the other people who are still in jail get released. So it really took us incredible amount of time, and also probably because we were just a bunch of guys, we were 3 to 4 men entering this village, trying to enter her private home. And for us to just to make her understand that we are just there to understand her pain, understand her story, and take her story to the outside world, it took us like weeks and weeks and weeks of time. And we never took out the camera. We were just there daily, spending time with her. We were helping her with household chores, cleaning the house a little bit, just staying there, eating with her, and just for her to be familiar with us, with our faces, to get that trust. And that trust took time. Only after she trusted us, then she began opening up about what has happened. And then we slowly took out the camera, and then we were able to document everything.
So I'm going to have one more question, just in case we're not going to have a chance to talk much more about your film later. What about looking like finding the proper language on the visual level of your film? Because you are filming not only her and her body and her face and her surroundings, I mean, like her being in the world, but also the area, this village that all this horror happened. And it's such a beautiful place at the same time. So how did you work on that to find proper way to show that story?
Sure, that's a great question, Kaya. I think the language kind of emerged much later in the production process, when we actually recorded her entire testimony and when we've actually observed her way of life. I personally felt she was very spiritually connected to nature. Even as a human, even her day-to-day prayers, her everyday prayers, they're deeply connected to nature. Like she does offerings to, her backyard is this full of trees that you can find, and these huge landscapes. So somehow I wanted to establish that connection by marrying her voice with nature itself, with the image of nature, to kind of evoke a third layer of feeling, a third layer of perception. And even historically, for me, when I was researching, historically, witches were these midwives who used to derive their power from Mother Nature. So they were spiritually connected. And here is a woman in this modern contemporary society who has been branded as a witch. So, somehow it kind of, for me, felt right to flesh out that connection even more and push it a bit more, and make it an inherent part of her story where, through her testimony, she's not just venting out herself, but she's also healing these landscapes, healing these locations that are surrounding her.
Yeah, it's beautifully put. The words that you found to describe it are just like super touching. Guys, I wanted to add, because as we're going to lose him soon because he has his thesis to work on, which is also really important. Do you have any questions connected to testimony of Anna? Maybe we can do that as long as we are going to have later chance to talk about your films. Maybe you, as viewers of the film, because some of you had the chance to watch Sachin's film, maybe you wanted to ask about something or comment on something. That's going to be really interesting if there are any words on your side.
Definitely, that was like one of the greatest answers I've ever seen in the online GV, by the way. You should be a speaker. But like, just the way you talked about because it's so kind of paradoxical now that you've explained it like that. Because I mean, there's the witch hunt and how people perceive witches, having this relation to nature, and yet you filmed it that way. And yet the way you filmed it was just the opposite. We saw our humanity more than this rubbish about, this, her being a witch, quote unquote witch. But just the way you described it was just phenomenal. Yeah. So your choice to do that, I thought is just makes the film even better. I think, like now that you explain the nature's connection to witchcraft, you know.
Thank you, Jael.
Yeah. What about you guys? You had a chance to watch his film. Any comments or questions?
من چیزه بگی که به نظرم اول که هند خیلی از ما دور نیست ولی از فرهنگیدنش مثلا شرایط درک میکردم و اینا. چیزی که میخواستم بپرسم راجع به این بود که خیلی خوب با سوژهش نزدیک شده بود که خودش توضیح داد در
we got to watch it today, and he says that it's interesting for us because India is not very far from us culturally. We share a common background, and that he could understand the situation described in the film and feel it the way it was described. And it was very interesting for him the way you had approached your subject and you had actually touched the subject in your film.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you both in here because we have the translator also included. Okay, so Subarna, anything from you, or should we?
Yeah, I watched it on Sunday with my mother, and she loved it. She was extremely sad, so was I, and we actually felt what she was going through, and it was a ride, and she loved it. I'm just telling you, she loved it. Also because we're from India, so we get it. So.
Thank you so much, Subarna. And also, before we move on to other films, I just want to say, all of you, Jael, Subarna, and Mehdi, I really, really deeply love the work that you've created, and it's so it has such a profound impact on me. So it's very inspiring to be around you guys. Thank you, and thank you for taking time to watch the film.
This section was so hard to watch. It was just like this section was really hard to watch. I mean, like the way it started, it was just like by the time I guess my film's at the end, but like by the time I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, like
heavy program with all the offering of female characters, basically.
I don't know, like the audiences will be like, oh my god, like they'll be thinking about some of these films for weeks.
But I think this way of doing Q&A, just like having filmmakers talking to other filmmakers, I'm just going to do it that way from now.
That's great.
That's great.
I also want to add something like the cinematography. I don't know, like you said that you got into filmmaking later at Texas Austin. Yeah. It's like the cinematography was so, like, because I mean, as filmmakers, we look at the technique, right? But it was just so spot on. Like, I don't know what to say. But just because like usually when you have this like documentaries, these days I think there's a lot of documentaries that have like a sort of like a beginning, middle, and end, and sort of try to tell a story. But the way you did it was sort of what's the word? Like I'm not a good speaker like you, but like it was just like we were just, I don't know what's the word. It was like kind of a spiritual experience because I mean I had really good sound system, but I was hearing all the sound design and I was like, just the technical aspects alone. Or just like in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this person knows how to make a film. But then the subject matter, you didn't like delve into the pathos too much, which I really admired. Because it's so easy to fall into pathos with such a subject matter like this. But you just, it was like, even like the way she was saying, you chose to put in like elements of her interview where she was saying, like, why are you here? Like, why do you want to, I don't want to do this. And it was just a very delicate way you were approaching your subject, and just phenomenal work. I don't know. It's like, I got to watch it a couple more times, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I mean, enjoy is like a understatement.
We need to go further a bit. So let me just proceed to Subarna. As we commented, and you said that you also come from India and you had this connection with Sachin's film. I could say I come from Poland and it's pretty far away from India and from the story that you tell in a way, but at the same time I felt really strong connection with the way you want to do it. So I wanted to ask you, what is your connection with the with the theme, because female mutilation, it's such a disastrous thing that it's still out there in the world. So I wanted to ask you about looking for the way of saying and telling this story without, either without or rather with the emotional connection that you felt yourself. Tell us a bit about that.
I grew up with a girl. She was in my school who went through this. But back then I was small and I did not know like the gravity of the problem. She just said it as a matter of fact that, oh, this happens in our community. And I was like, okay. But later as I grew up and I got hold of this book, it's called A War on Women by Sue Lloyd Roberts. And the first chapter was on FGM. And I read it and then I remembered her and I thought, oh, wow, okay, this is why it happens. And then I started watching a lot of documentaries. I started reading about it, and then I understood like what exactly happened with her. Back then, she didn't seem to understand what exactly happened with her. She said, "Oh, it happens. Girls have to do this. It's a thing." And then I read about it, and then I understood it's a tool of oppression. And then I thought, someone should talk about it. I should talk about it, and that's how I got to make this film.
But there's still this fairy tale vision that you use in your animation. It's there's like a small girl and this big world around her, and of course we see those super traumatic moments. But at the same time, you use the visual language that we connect with childhood. Was that difficult to find balance between the theme and the way that you show the things to us?
When I wrote the script, the visuals kind of came to me that way. Like I initially had a few visuals, then I kind of connected them. I didn't want to take a very linear, like live actionish approach. I just wanted to take advantage of my medium, and that's why I used a lot of dream sequences and different spaces, not very realistic kind of spaces, because yeah, that.
Yeah, I understand. And can you also say something about this circle? Oh, Sachin is saying bye to us. Thank you for joining us. I know that you.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruption, but it was lovely to meet you all.
Yeah, good luck with your thesis and see you
Thank
at
you.
the Krakow Film Festival maybe next year or in.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Great work, Sachin.
Bye.
Thank you, Jael. Thank you,
to see
Suparna. Thank you, Mehdi. Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Okay, so coming back to my question to Subarna, because we have these metaphors and symbols of circle all the time in your film, and I also have the feeling that it's this story is like repeating itself, and there's like a reintroduction of the same thing over and over again. So that really doesn't give us that much hope that the situation is going to change. What's your thoughts on that matter of your film and of this thing?
I didn't want to give an impression that nothing's going to change. I just wanted to show that a woman takes one step against this ritual, and it doesn't work out. It doesn't, because it'll take time to change the entire society. But she takes a step and she faces a hurdle, and maybe it'll take time, but it'll change in a few years or in a decade or something. But I didn't want to give it a happy-ish ending, because it's not that easy. If it was that easy, anyone would have done it. So that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the idea of taking a little step, it's really important for us to remember from every terrible situation that we can witness around us. Guys, do you have any questions to Subarna or comments on her film? Jair, as you are my fellow film critic at the same time.
Oh, sorry. No, I just really enjoyed the film. So sorry.
Amazing when you can hear such a strong reaction to somebody else's work. So please, maybe.
Yeah. Oh no, like I just wanted to add, like it seems to me like it ends with a question too. It's like proposing a question, because it's like at the end there's like the daughter on the left side, if I'm not mistaken, there was a razor. So it's like sort of, I feel like it's sort of at the end, as a filmmaker, sort of proposes this problem to us, because it's sort of in the POV. So because you know, like as an audience, you want it to end and like, yay, like she, you know, but then it's like, oh, but we still have to do this. So we still have this ritual, we still have this custom at the end. And I thought it was just really hard to watch, because like at the beginning, because like you watch animation and it's like, because I had no idea about the subject matter, but then all of a sudden the razor comes up. It's like, oh no, it's about female genital mutilation. But I did have a question about like, what do you think about the Western perspective on it? Like, I feel like these days with the Me Too movement and a lot of political movements, there is criticism against female genital mutilation, but at the same time, from a Western standpoint, people say we shouldn't be culturally ignorant, that we should accept, we should be respectful of other people's cultures, no matter how, you know, quote unquote heinous it may seem, that it's part of the culture. What do you think about critics that say that?
I tried watching a lot of people talk about the religious perspective of this, how it's in our religion, so we should do it. But most of them sounded a little not sincere. It just seemed like, we have to keep our women faithful. If she doesn't have this one particular organ, she can't go around and have sex with other people. So this is how we keep our women. It was mostly about that, rather than oh, God has asked us to do this. Because a lot of religious prophets, they kept saying, oh, you know, this organ, if women, they don't get rid of it, it keeps itching. So, and then it causes some disease. Random things they're saying. So it doesn't make any sense. So I don't think, no.
It feels like it's a tool of control over female bodies, over female lives, and that really resonates with me, to be honest. That also aspect, that you always find the reason, but the bigger reason is the fact that you need to have a control over the life of somebody else. So that's a really strong story to tell. Mehdi, do you have any questions or comments on Subarna's film?
ما که فیلم رو ندیدیم متاسفانه ندیدیم، امیدوارم موفق بشه. فیلمش گویا دوره جشنواره
was the only one that we couldn't watch, unfortunately. And he hopes that during the festival he can still have the chance to watch. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't notice that could be the one that you didn't have a chance to see, but we encourage you to do that a bit later. Thank you. Okay, so let's proceed to you, actually, Mehdi, and your friend, the translator. So I wanted to ask about actually a few things that are more technical, but at the same time, there are a lot of issues that the film inspired me to think about, because the way it's made, it's really strong. We spent whole time in complete darkness, so it's a challenge for a filmmaker to work like that. So, and we are somewhere out there, it's somewhere really remote area, so that must be a challenge to make a film in conditions like that. So that would be one of the questions, and you can like answer both of them actually at the same time. And the other question that I have is the genre, the way you use thriller and horror aspects of the story to tell a story that is so actually horrific, I would say, but not in the way that we expected at first. So I wanted to ask you how you were thinking about genre cinema to use it to develop your story. That would be those two things to start with.
Okay, so let me, on behalf of him, first thank you, Kaya, and the festival for this wonderful chance that you've given us. we're very happy to be with you. And then I'll just review the questions and then get back to you.
Okay.
دو تا سوال از بپرسه که میتونی جفتش رو هم جواب بدی. یه بیشتر اول میخوام تکنیکی ازت بپرسم که اول یه فیلمی که توی تاریکی و یه جای دور برداشته شده تمام کارش سختیه و یه مواجهه چالنجی واسه فیلمساز. اول از همه این که مثلا تو این تاریکی کار کردن، تو شب کار کردن، توی جای دور از دسترس کار کردن چقدر سخته. دومین راجع به سینمای ژانر از سینمای وحشت استفاده کردیم که اولش البته اصلا انتظار نداره آدم، ولی بعدا فیلم ترجمه کردن میکنه نظر خودم مدرسه من فکر بازش
تکنیکی که بودی که میخواستیم تو همچین لوکیشنی با همچین شرایط تاریکی و فلان فیلم برداری کنیم، چون یه استعاره بود از خود داستان و آره خب خیلی سخت بود و از فنی حتی خیلی هوای مثلا نامناسبی بود، خونه خالی از سکنه بود، ما مجبور بودیم دوباره دکورش کنیم و خب همه اینا خیلی حتی لباس بازیگرا رو همه رو با تغییر می‌کردیم چون لباس‌ها مربوط به مثلا حدود 60 سال پیش بود اینجوری. از نظر ژانر هم بگم خیلی راست دلم نمی‌خواستیم یه قالب یه ژانر به خصوص باشه و چون از یه داستان می‌خوام برایش بگم.
Okay. So first of all, the first things first, the first question first, about the darkness and the challenge of doing this film in a remote place. Well, he wanted to be like that because it was a metaphor of the whole story that it was happening in the dark. And of course, it was technically very hard because like the weather was awful the time that they were filming. The house was an empty house and they had to like put everything there for the film. The story happens like in 60 years ago. So the timing is not like all the objects and the set design, etc. had to go with the time of the story. So they had to like make all the dresses and all the setting. Technically, yes, it was hard, but it was supposed to be so, and they accepted the challenge. And the second question,
نمیخواستم خیلی مثلا تو ژانر خاصی باشه، یعنی سعی می‌کردم که بین ژانری باشه یه سوژه اجتماعی، ولی خب داستانه خود به خودش یه داستان هولناک بود و گریزی ازش نبود که این اتفاق بیفته.
And your second question, well, he didn't intend it to be in a particular genre, but since the story was a horrific one, it appeared as such. He preferred it to be something between two disciplines, like between the genres, but it appeared as it seems, and well, it's taken from a story that's not written by him, but someone else. So the story was there.
Okay, but the atmosphere is like really gets to you because when we watch the film, we don't know what's actually happened. We only see it at the very end, so it works as a thriller with this, like Hitchcockian almost. What's really happening in there? But the other striking thing is the way that it's such a man world. I would say that the men decide, the men discuss, the men do the things, and the females are just there. So what's your approach towards this thing? Does it really feel like a story from the past, or are you trying also to tell us something about the world that we live in nowadays? That would be the next question.
Okay. یه خب اتمسفر خیلی قوی داشت و این حالت غافلگیری رو داشت، چون سه تریلر هیچکاکی عمل میکن. ولی من نکته بعد اینه که یه دنیای مردونه داشتیم که همه کارا رو مردم میکنن، مردم قاعدن که بنویسن منتقل. باید در مورد ما خیلی چیزی بگیم، اینکه این داستان مربوط به گذشته است، اینکه گفتن داستان راجع به گذشته خیلی چیزی بشه.
اول که داستانی که راجع به گذشته است که ولی میتونی که از سانسور فرار کنی، چون سخته تو ایران که الان راجع به الان بگی. مثلا خب فیلم با این موضوع قطعا دچار سانسور میشه، هم الان هم احتمالاً فیلم داشته داخلی سانسور یعنی کنار گذاشته میشه به احتمال زیاد. خب راجع که مردا همه انجام میدن هم خب این قضیه که جامعه مرد سالار این اتفاق میفته قدرت وقتی دست هست این اتفاق میفته. در ضمن من یه صحنه میفیلم اضافه کردم که داستان نبود میرن دختره رو زنا میرن میارنش و خب فقط میخواستم نشون بدم که گاهی زنا هم حداقل همکاری میکنن توی این پروسه و این خیلی غم انگیزش
Of course, what you say applies. Like the story is about the past, but it tries to say something about the present. Most of all, for the reason to bypass censorship. Like his film, even right now, might not find the chance to participate in internal festivals, like the festivals, national festivals in Iran, because you cannot make a film on such a subject officially in Iran. So that's a technical reason, let's say. The other thing is about the men being active in this film. Well, it's very natural that in a society in which the power is in the hands of men, and like the sexist system of power reigns on many power structures, that the men would be more active. But he has added a scene to the film which was not in the original story, that women go and get a woman that's about to, that's the subject of the story, and bring her. And by adding that to the film, he wanted to show that sometimes, unfortunately, women also participate in these power structures that benefits men in the end.
Yeah, that's the way that we need to fight with the whole concept of just being the subjected ones, and I mean not only women but also men, because we are part of the same story in a way. Thank you for telling us about that, and yeah, it's so great to have your film at the festival so more people can see it if it's not really possible for you to screen it in your country. It's really an honor to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm really glad that we had a chance to also talk about that. Do you want to translate what I just said?
خیلی ترجمه کنم که ولی خیلی ممنونم که توی فستیوال شرکت کردید که اگه مردم تو ایران نمیتونن ببینن لااقل شانسی باشه که
ممنون شما شانس
Thank you for providing this opportunity for the film to be seen by a greater audience. Yeah.
Subarna, Jair, do you have any questions or comments on the Mehdi film?
Hey, on a side note, Subarna, I think maybe when you talk, you should turn on your mic and have it off for the most part, because I think it's starting that noise thing. Because your face keeps popping up every time. Yeah, just helping. Yeah. Oh, but I just silenced you. If you have a question, you should ask him.
And we are talking about the.
Oh my God! I'm silencing women's voices right now. No.
Silencing female.
Damn you, cyclone.
Yeah, no.
But when you talk, you just click on the mic. That's what I do.
Yeah. But so maybe let's double ask Subarna. Do you want to say anything about Mehdi film or ask any question to him?
Yeah, when I first watched it, as I was watching it, I thought they were gonna abort the child. Then at the end, I was like, "What? She's dead?" And I was horrified. I was watching it with my mother, and she was like, "What just happened?" We were both horrified, and we were like, "Okay." And it was very difficult to watch, extremely difficult to watch. And then it all came back to me when they were talking about pneumonia initially, and at the end they brought up, "Oh, I'm gonna write she has pneumonia." And I was like, "Oh, okay, this is something they do." It was very, very scary. So, yeah.
Okay. Should I translate? میگه که با مادرش نگاه کرده و اول فکر کردن که میخوام بچه رو صرف کنم، بعد وقتی دیدن که کشتنشون مادرش دید چی شد و اینا، جفتشون وحشت کردن. میگه خیلی سخت بود تماشا کردنش و خیلی تاثیر گذاشت. و بعد اون تیکه‌ای که اول میگن این سل داره، همون بیماری که داره، بعد آخرش معلوم میشه که این کاری که اینا روتین انجام میدن.
چه خوب گرفته داستانو. آره بهش بگو که آره متاسفانه این کار میکنن در واقع، یعنی اونایی که عمل میکنن برای اینکه اون دختره در واقع لکه ننگه و باید پاک بشه، اصلا ربطی به بچه دار شدنش نداره، کلا یه رابطه‌ای که خارج از ازدواج داشته، این آدم دیگه برای همه باعث بی‌آبرویی و باید حذف بشه. همینجوری تو من تمام تلاشم این بود که خیلی تلخ به اون صورت نباشه، خیلی چیز برگزار بشه. آره نمیخواستم هیجانی داشته باشه توش و جنگ و چیزی داشته باشه، برای اینکه این تاثیرش رو کم میکرد. اتفاقا سعی کردم خیلی مثل یه آیین برگزار بشه و اون موقع هولناک‌تر میشه. خوشحالم که برای این احساس رو داشته باشه، امیدوارم خیلی سخت باشه.
مثل آیین رو من بنویسم. Yeah. Well, first of all, he's happy that you got the point, like the twist in the story that shows that this is something that happens often with that doctor. But unfortunately, that's what happens in reality. That when they do it, it's not so much about the child or whatever. It's about like removing this shame that the woman has brought on the family. And it's they're more concerned with this out of marriage relationship than with the life that is at stake here with the child or with the mother. However, he didn't want it to become very sad or horrific or have a lot of drama. Rather, he wanted to portray it as a kind of a ritual, and which makes it all the more horrifying. Like the more it's not on the surface, the more it would go into your bones. He's happy that you were impressed by the film, but he's also hoping that you were not troubled by it or like too stressed by watching it.
What I can add from my side would be just the fact that we have a chance to talk about it. It makes it a bit, easier to process the stories that we had the chance to know thanks to your films. That always helps. So we are the lucky ones that we can process the emotions.
I just want to say, like, imagine being Sabrina and Sabrina's mom.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, let's watch a bunch of short films, and it's like all 4 of them are the worst to watch with your mom. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, like it's like geared toward like a terrible date with Sabrina's mom. All of her films.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I because you said you watched it with your mom. It's like every single one.
Now from us, yeah. Greetings from Poland and from Krakow Film Festival to Subarna's mom.
That's right.
I'm so sorry, but I just had to. Jail, do you have
I just want
any questions or any comments?
I just wanted to add, like what he was saying, like it was like quietly devastating, like if to put it, if you want to put it somewhere, like it was just like I'm watching this, and it felt like a documentary, because there's this one show I like to watch in Korea. I said this like millions of times now in Q&As, but human theater, but like it almost felt like a documentary. I was like a foreigner, like observing like some kind of ritual, like a cultural, like a tradition. And then by the time like you go to that one shot of the, they put the thing over. We could say spoilers, right? Oh yeah, like when when she's dead, I'm just like, oh my god! I felt like I partook in this, because I felt like I was watching like a documentary as a foreigner watching like a show, sort of like a BBC like documentary. But then all of a sudden, oh my god, this was what was culminating to, and the nonchalance, like how nonchalant everyone was at the end. Like like they were talking about, okay, blah blah blah, like goodbye now, and it was so nonchalant. And I think that like what the director mentioned, like it made it that much more devastating. I think so. I just wanted, but I did want to ask, like you did use there was a chicken. There's a chicken imagery in the beginning, and in the middle there was the dead chicken, and then they were all putting their hands in it, and you sort of emphasized the sound design and with their hands. I just wanted to give a chance to the director to explain the symbolism behind that, because I'm really curious.
دومی سوالش میگه تو سکوت آدم داغون میکنه واسه مستند بود، انگار من خارجی هم دارم آیین فرهنگ دیگه نگاه میکنم، منتها بعد آخر داستان حس میکنم که چه اینجوری مستند نباید اینجوری باشه، اینا مثلا شوک میشدم. ولی میگه این تصویری که اولش میاد و آخرش نه، این جنبه نمادی اینو میتونی توضیح
درجه مرغه. ببین این یه مسئله میگو داریم مرغ از عروسی توی فیلم کباب هست در واقع، یعنی گوشت گوسفند هست، من تبدیلش کردم به مرغ
تو داستان اصلی.
آره کباب هست یعنی گوشت گوسفند هست، ولی من تبدیلش کردم به مرغ. این چیزی که داره مرغ از عروسی، یعنی میگن مرغ تو هر شرایطی قربانی میشه. یه مسئله این برام جالب، یعنی این برام جالب بود. دوم اینکه پلان هم به لحاظ فرمی، پلانی که از مرغ از بالا گرفته میشه بعداً به اون پلانی دختره میشه، این دو تا پلانه تقریبا چیز دارن، مشابهت کامل دارن از کادری. امیدوار بودم که یه اشاره‌ای بکنه به اینکه همینجوری که مثلا حیوان راحت میکشن انگار اینم راحت کشتن.
Yeah, thank you for your comment. Just for the question about the chicken. Well, there is a saying in Persian that it's like she or he is like a chicken that is used both in funerals and in marriage. Yeah. So like it doesn't make a difference whether it's for a good thing or a bad thing. He's the one or she's the one who's going to be sacrificed. You know? In the original story, it wasn't the chicken; it was actually a kebab of a sheep meat, like bacon or beef, right? But he changed it into the chicken in order to bring the symbolism in that, like, no matter what they do, the one who's sacrificed in the end is the woman, like the person who has to tolerate the consequences is the woman. And technically, there's a like resemblance between the frame, the imagery of the chicken, and which is from the top, and when the girl is dead, and he wanted to show them how similar these two can be, like how easily they kill her the way they kill an animal, like the beastly approach to this death.
So heavy.
Yeah,
this is really heavy for me to just have those images back and think about it again. Yeah, let's Jail, let's proceed maybe to your film, because that's the one that we have in here also. I mean Georgia, which is the name of the font actually, which is also really interesting start for my first question, because to have such a specific thing in the film, I'm just really curious where it came from, because we have this like super strong story that we're going to also talk about, and the trauma and the parents and the community, but we have this font in the middle of all of this. So can you tell me a bit about this really specific idea, because that has to come from some experience or something. I'm just really curious. What's the story behind that?
I think, well, I had the story idea, and I think the font originally actually wasn't Georgia. It was, I just had, it would have been great if I just started with Georgia. That would have been a great story. But actually, the truth is, I did have to search for a good font, a proper font. And, you know, the words like Helvetica or Comic Sans, like these, they don't, I wanted to choose a font that was universal, more universal, but at the same time that wouldn't translate into Korean. And I think the reason why I chose Georgia was because Georgia, when you think of Georgia, not only do you think the font, but you think of a certain place, you know. And I think I was sort of targeting American audiences in a way, because I was like fantasizing in my head about getting into the Atlanta Film Festival and having Georgians watch it, you know. Okay. What kind of experience would this be? Because like for Koreans, you know, it's this way, but then they're like, why is she dreaming of coming to Georgia, or like going to Georgia design school? Like, it's not that great over here. Maybe they have that, you know, in their heads. So it makes it even more tragic from the point of view of someone that lives in Georgia. It's like, it's not that great over here, you know. and Georgia is supposed to symbolize like America, I think, like a place, like a safe haven for her to go, maybe even like the American dream. But it's more like, I think, a safe haven from the struggles and the traumatic experiences she had to go through. But you know, maybe it's a place that doesn't exist, but I did want it to have a cultural element to the font. So I think that's why it was funny, because like Georgia, they keep saying Georgia state or city or whatever, because they don't know either if it's a state or city. So I wanted to emphasize the location, Georgia, and at the same time, you know, add a cultural element and how culturally ignorant the protagonists are about Georgia's location, you know.
Yeah, and at the same time, nobody thinks about the country because
Exactly.
there's a country called Georgia, and there's this other level that's
Yeah, actually, interesting thing is, in Korea, if you say Georgia, most people think the country, because
okay.
because Georgia, there's a very popular brand of coffee called Georgia that comes from Georgia. So I think that was another interesting element, because everyone thought Georgia the country is like, some people that don't know much about America, they thought probably Georgia the country, you know.
And at the same time, we have this story with a girl that it's gone. It also brings all those references like Laura Palmer to my mind, that we have this girl that we can't see, but everything is about her.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Hmm?
Did you just make a Twin Peaks reference?
Yes.
Or is that?
Why
Oh
not?
my God. Thank you.
Why not?
That's awesome. That's awesome, because I love Twin Peaks.
Oh, I love Twin Peaks too. That's why that's the connection I guess that we can have in here. But we watch we are observing the people that are left behind, and they have to you know, face the situation. We have those beautiful parents, and I wanted to ask you about working with the actors to develop such an intimacy that they have, and this connection also through, of course, I don't understand Korean, but I can see in their bodies that the language is also important part for them. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Okay. Oh, but first off, like, it's embarrassing, but I didn't even think about the Laura Palmer connection. But I did wanted to.
There you go. Now you can use
that's
it
awesome.
when
You
talk
just gave
about
me
the
a
film, you
gift.
know?
Now I can use that for the next Q&A. I was like, I was thinking about Twin Peaks and how you can sense the person's there without her being there. Actually, but that was my that's so embarrassing, because that was my intent. I wanted to have her be present in the film without her actually being in the film. And wow, yeah. But and about the actors
from Poland for you.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, because like everyone loves David Lynch, everyone loves Twin Peaks, so you know, that's like the biggest compliment.
So happy.
Yeah, just making that reference, you know. But about the actors, those two actors, I said my philosophy in filmmaking is very simple. Like, even though like there's like camera and like sound and things like that, but I think Milos Forman said that 90% of the film is casting. So even before I started writing the script, when I had the idea, I was like, there's only two people I thought about playing the roles. And those two people, when they said they would do it, then I started writing it, because I think that's, because I do believe that it's really difficult to get really good actors, I think, for any film, you know, and casting's so important. And how we prepared was, first I got two amazing actors who are pretty prominent in the indie film industry in Korea. And I've worked with them with a previous film, and I knew what they were capable of. So that, and you know, and there's the female actor. She's working in a lot of television, and she's very busy. But she was so touched by the script that we actually prepared for about 6 months, I think, for the role, like doing the research. And we both had like family members who had suffered from stroke, and to make that authentic. And also, how far she went was on set, she was in character the whole time. So what happened was, when we had the background actors, the extras on set, they didn't even know she was an actor. They actually thought there was just a sick woman on set, you know? And so I think we went pretty far with preparation. and those two actors had played a father and a mother in another film I had made. So I knew the chemistry was there. So I think that's how we ended up, having two very intimate characters.
Okay. And thinking about how to, because of course Korean cinema is now on the wave, I would say, like after of course Bong Joon-ho, Parasites, Oh, are you gone with the lights? Are you there?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna.
Something went off. But we can see you again.
Sorry.
But what I can say, it's not like, oh, everybody in Korea must be now inspired with the way he works with structuring the stories. But at the same time, it is a bit like I could have this connection in here, that you have like a really strong, socially important and valid thing that you tell through this family situation, that they are facing this really terrible moment in their life. So just tell me how you think about this social aspect of the story that you told us. That is it because I feel that there's something out there. I mean, how the community answers to terrible moments that they lead to, in a way. Can you say something about that part of your film?
So the film is there was this really heinous crime of gang sexual violence that was perpetrated in this one city in Korea, and basically, if you just even say the city name, people all know about it. It used to be nationwide news. So the film, when Koreans watch it, they know, oh, this is about that, And it's about there was a group of high school kids, like in my film, it's 18 people, but actually in real life, and the true story is over 40.
Over 40.
And yes, so I had to actually reduce the amount because I was worried that, because I wanted to make this film for foreign audiences as well, I had to reduce the amount because I thought that no one would believe it, But the true story is actually far worse with 40 people, and it was over the course of over a year. So, I mean, there's this definitely a rape culture that existed in Korea, maybe still pervasive, but I think that was a central focus, but anyone who knows about it, it's an angry incident. Like, I wanted to tell the story in the perspective of the parents, because there was another famous film that tackled this incident called Hangongju, which won the top prize at Rotterdam. It did pretty well in festivals, but it was about this incident. But I wanted to tell this into perspective of what happens, like the double victimization that happens after the incident as well, that even for the parents, and how it affects them as well. So I think so there was that incident that everyone knows about, but then I wanted to show a different aspect of it by eliminating the victim and showing the victim's parents how they become victims as well, that people forget about, that they have to live with this.
Yeah. Like, thank you for saying that and telling us the background also of the story, because it feels that this is the matter for journalists or for documentary filmmakers, and what can a fiction filmmaker do about stories like that, how to tell that story to make it into kind of inspired by events story also. Thank you. Guys, do you have any questions to Jail or comments on his film? Please.
Yeah, we have a question. But you can ask yours, and I'll for him. I just closed the microphone, so if there's any other question, you can use the time for that.
Sorry, once again, I didn't understand what you meant.
I think he's asking Sabrina to ask a question first.
Yeah, I take the time to translate, so you can use the time to ask your own question.
Okay. Subarna, do you have any questions?
Hi. So I loved how you chose to end the film. It was really, really beautiful. My mom feels the same way.
Oh, thank you. And tell her sorry too.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?
Oh no, I just made a joke. I tell your mom thank you and also sorry
Oh.
for ruining date night with her daughter.
Your film was the one she was the saddest about because she's a parent and I think she could. Anyway, also I like the fact that how it wasn't like consistently sad. We got to see how the relationship between the two parents, and I really liked the little wagon with the umbrella. It was also beautiful, and how they make each other laugh and how they're like with each other, and it was very beautiful, along with this really horrifying thing that's happened to them and is happening to them. And also the fact that at the end when you show the daughter and they all sleep together, it was very saddening but also heartwarming, and it was a little difficult to watch, but it was a beautiful film.
Oh my God, thank you. And also imagine like you're watching this film, like you're watching the first film, the second film, and you're getting sad, and then all of a sudden, hey, this couple is kind of happy, and then all of a sudden it's like psych, it's like just kidding. You know? I'm just like, sorry for making the jokes.
My mother was almost tearing up. She's like, what are these films? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like what festival did you get to? This prestigious Krakow Film Festival.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely ask the program of the short film section to watch the Q&A to really face the fact that Subarna's mom in India really had emotional moments because of the structure of the program. So yeah, definitely.
Did your mom say like, do you want to say something specific to me? Why are you showing me this film? Like, is there a hidden message, daughter? Like, do you want to tell me something, Subarna? Like, did she say? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
We need some laughter also after this program.
Yeah, we need some laughter.
But it's the way like that in your film also, that these heartwarming moments and this terrible truth that it's always hiding there. You know, it's like in Twin Peaks. There are funny moments that they are eating cake, but at the same time there is Bob waiting in the, for them. So like there is this kind of spirit out there. Mehdi, are you prepared? You can ask the question. Okay, cool.
Yes. So it's only comment. It's no question, but he very much likes the atmosphere of your film. He thinks that it was very suitable to what you were saying. The film was very professional. It was wonderful in terms of color, like visually pleasant. He particularly liked the acting of your male character, which he finds powerful. The script he finds very exact and well structured. The punchline worked very well, like the fact at the end. And he was waiting for you to show the girl at some point, and when it entered the film, he was like, "Okay, there it is." And he also wants to add that he knows how hard it is to tell a story after it has happened, because you don't have the drama there. All the events have already happened, and you have to create this drama through various means. And this had happened professionally in a well mannered way. He's very happy that both films of you and him have participated close to one another in this festival.
Yeah, because it happens like after the crucial. Because I remember like there was like the bruise in her eye, and I was always wondering like the woman, like, why was the bruise there? Was it before or after? You know, because it could have definitely been. It probably was definitely the result of sexual violence. I presume that when I was watching.
بگم البته جایی تو فیلم هست که اینا میخوان ازش در مورد میگن که ما هر چی کردیم که بپرسیم دست دخترم یه جایی هست که کار کی بوده و این حرفی نزدیم.
Well, there's also this fact in the film that they say whatever we did to find out whose baby this is, she wouldn't say. And there's also like scars on the hand of the girl, which is relates also to this torture that she had gone through, but she hasn't said a word.
Yeah.
Jail, do you want to comment on the things that Mehdi said about your film, or are you?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, the front part, I like it because it's like producer's notes. You better do this, this, and this. But it's like check. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, because that's, you know, like we try to make these honest films, but at the same time, we're like, this part has to work and this part has to work. It's good when someone's looking at it, it's like, yeah, that worked. Don't worry.
I'm really happy with the way we did that Q&A session that's going to an end actually at this point, because it's quite a long time that we had the chance to talk about your films. But I'm really glad that you had the possibility to comment on your films, because it's different when you have a chance to talk to the audience. It's different when you have a chance to talk to moderator that is asking the question. But having feedback from other filmmakers, it really feels like something more than just like a usual after screening Q&A. So I'm just really glad that I had the chance to be part of that and kind of navigate on this international level between Iran, Korea, India, and Austin, Texas.
There's action scenes too. A lot. Thank you.
Sachin, we missed you already. But yeah, it's just great because like the way you developed on your films in that way, it's just really rich and reaching for the audience at Krakow Film Festival. So I'm just like really happy and really glad that we could have done this way. And I wish you all the luck at Krakow Film Festival. And also because we were talking a lot about the way the films struck our emotions. I mean, this was heavy program, a lot of suffering, a lot of trauma and horror. But the fact that we can talk about that, it always makes you feel less even the most difficult. So I'm glad that we had the chance to be together in this. And say hi to your mom, Subarna.
Sorry, Subarna's
I will.
And I hope you got safe in the.
She liked the films though. She was sad, but she liked them.
Yeah.
No, apologize to her on our behalf.
Festival, we are really sorry for all of that's life, right? That's the stories that we tell.
No, the films are great.
I'm making a screenshot so I can send you later, and I hope you're gonna have a chance to watch some other films during Krakow Film Festival. It was lovely to meet you all, and have a great day, evening, afternoon.
Same to you.
Thank you very much once again. And of course, I hope to meet you at Krakow Film Festival sometime in the future. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that.
All right, thank you so much, Kaja.
Dziękuję bardzo, drodzy Państwo. Tacy goście, to można godzinami rozmawiać. Mam nadzieję, że nasze spotkanie wniosło sporo w Wasze życie, bo było to naprawdę wspaniałe być częścią tego wieczoru. Do zobaczenia. Dziękuję jeszcze raz.